Hi everyone. Today I will be presenting on When Abortion Was a Crime, Women, Medicine, and Law in the United States, 1867 to 1973, by Leslie J. Reagan. This book looks over 100 years of abortion laws, medical practices, and women's lived experience in the U.S., all before Roe v. Wade legalized abortion nationwide in 1973. Why I chose this book. Reproductive rights are central to sex and social arrangements. They are a huge part of how societies regulate sex, gender, and social behavior. I wanted to choose a book that would get me interested to learn more in class. Also, after Roe was overturned in 2022, abortion has been criminalized in many states. I wanted to understand how the history of this issue, what criminalization actually looked like, and how it affected women. I will always remember the day Roe v. Wade was reversed and how I felt, and I could only imagine how other women felt. This book connects really strongly to our class themes about social arrangement and how institutions shape sexuality and gender norms. What the book covers. Reagan's book covers the period from the late 1800s up until 1973. It tracks how abortion shifted from something relatively common and socially accepted to something that became criminalized and heavily policed. The book combines legal and medical history with personal accounts. It focuses on women who sought abortions, the midwives and physicians who provided them, and how law enforcement and the medical profession shaped access to reproductive care. It also shows how abortion was still widely practiced even when it was illegal. One of the first things the book explains is that before criminalization, abortion wasn't the moral or political issue it is now. Women used herbs, midwives, and early procedures, and it was generally considered a safe matter, especially before quickening. Then, starting around the 1860s, physicians, especially the newly organized American Medical Association, began pushing for anti-abortion laws. Their goal wasn't mainly moral or religious. It was about professional power. They wanted to expand the authority of medicine and eliminate competition from midwives. Once these laws were passed, the state took on a new role: policing women's reproduction. Major Takeaway 101. Criminalization was about power. A significant takeaway from the book is that abortion criminalization was less about protecting women and more about strengthening the power of male physicians and medical institutions. By pushing for abortion bans, doctors gained the authority to define which reproductive practices were legitimate. Meanwhile, midwives, many of whom were immigrant women or women of color, were targeted, discredited, and pushed out of reproductive care. So abortion criminalization wasn't just a legal shift. It changed who society allowed to control women's bodies. Abortion never, ever disappeared. Even though abortion was illegal for over a century, the book makes it clear that abortion never went away. Women shared knowledge through social networks. Midwives continued to work underground, and some physicians quietly provided care. Criminalization didn't stop abortion. It just determined who got safe access and who got dangerous access. This point becomes especially important when we compare the past to the present. There was a big inequality in access. The impact of criminalization wasn't equal. Wealthy white women often found sympathetic doctors who were willing to perform abortions quietly. Poor women, working class women, and women of color had far fewer options. They were far more likely to use unsafe methods, face medical neglect, and be targeted by prosecutors. Abortion laws ended up reinforcing racial and class inequalities. It is a reminder that laws regulating sexuality and reproduction are never enforced equally. In my final takeaway, Reagan's central argument is that criminalization of abortion does not stop abortion. It only changes who suffers and how severely. It only makes it dangerous and unequal. Understanding the history of abortion criminalization, who it protected, who it harmed, and who it empowered, help us understand the debates we're having today. Thank you for listening.